She's no different than every career politician you've ever seen. She's never had a private sector job in her life. She's spent more time running for office than she's done anything else in her life. She's a career politician. Maybe she goes by a different name. Maybe she wears a different color pantsuit, but you do know her. And so we intend to make sure that voters do keep knowing the truth about who Kamala Harris is, even though every day that seems to change. But I don't think she's going to be able to flip-flop, at least for us. We're not going to let her flip-flop her way or chameleon her way out of having to face the fact that when you run for president, again, the American people are smarter than the liberal mainstream media gives them credit for. And also, it's not all about Kamala Harris. I think there's a liberal mainstream media narrative that it's all about her, but it is still, every day that goes by, and I think you know this well, but a lot of people in media don't. Not everybody's consuming political news all the time and watching every little movement and development. A lot of Americans are just living their lives, and what their lives are right now is the issues most important to them are the economy, inflation, and immigration. And what their lives look a lot like is when they're going to fill up their gas tank, it's $4 to $5 a gallon. When they're going to the grocery store and they're like, wow, I didn't buy alcohol, I didn't buy paper towels, I didn't buy meat, why is my grocery bill $150? Like, that is a very tough reality for a lot of people. I get text messages and emails all day long saying as much. I mean, telling me, hey, baby formula 2 years ago, $22 a package, now it's $45 a package. I'm kind of okay, but how am I affording this? I'm thinking for people who are worse off than me, how are they affording this? So some of that reality doesn't change, and we intend to still keep the focus on how President Trump can make America great again and fight for the forgotten men and women of this country, because we know Kamala Harris well, we know the liberal mainstream media well, and we think that's, the right thing to do, and we also think it's a winning message.
So they're clearly talking with Caroline Sunshine, Deputy Director of Communications for the Trump campaign. They're running her as Obama 2.0 in every way.
We gotta have hope and change, Megan.
And they said, why are you supporting her? She said, well, I need to keep my rights. I need my rights, and I don't want the government to take away my bank account. I don't even know what they're talking about. One woman said, I'm a transgender man who's gay, and they want to take away my rights. We play this because they're like, okay, well, that's the Kamala base. Okay, fine. We can write those off. They're gonna. And people are like, well, we got to talk. We got to reach the independents, right? The undecided. I don't know who could be undecided, but we got to reach those people, and we got to talk about the issues. We got to talk about the issues. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great, and I think that's probably right. But then I'm also like, man, do people even really? Do people care about the issues, or do they just want hope? Do they just want Obama? Do they just want Kamala? They just want something aspirational. They want joy, as they're characterizing their campaign. Or do people actually vote on the issues?
I think it's always a mix of both, right? And that's what you have in Donald J. Trump. That's always actually been Donald J. Trump's appeal. He's talked about the right issues, because it's not just about talking about the right issues, it's about actually caring about the right issues, like the border, like inflation, like the economy, which President Trump I always think deserves so much credit for bringing immigration into the forefront of American public policy. Both parties for years ignored that issue. But then it's also about authenticity and persona, and to your point, yeah, I think we're very aware that people don't just vote solely on the issues, but they vote on authenticity, and Kamala Harris has none of that. And that's where I say you just watch her getting the Hillary Clinton treatment of the liberal mainstream media trying to take something that is fundamentally inauthentic and doing its best to give her the, Hollywood treatment or whatever it is. And while that might resonate with a very narrow base of people, as you just pointed out, her constituency really is San Francisco and New York City. And what you find out with Kamala Harris is, when you see clips like that, is you're just reminded of the reason that when she ran for president back in 2020, she couldn't crack 2% in her own party's primary. She couldn't make it out of Iowa. She had her career pretty much ended on that debate stage by Tulsi Gabbard in 45 seconds. And that is because, again, fundamentally who she is at her core is just far too liberal and out of touch for where the average American's at, certainly for where the forgotten men and women are at, and where that silent majority is at in this country. You know, you really can't forget about that silent majority base. Sometimes they don't show up in the polls, sometimes they're quiet about their opinions, but they're often loud when they vote, and I think you're going to see that happen again in 2024.
Obviously, you know all the clips of when Joe was like, is he going to go or not go? And there are people on MSNBC saying, well, if he goes, the worst person to replace her is Kamala Harris. She's just awful. There's just a couple weeks ago on MSNBC. And now, and I'm sure you saw the CBS tweet with no tax on tips, and when Kamala proposed no tax on tips the other day, they said, oh, what a brilliant, wonderful proposal. This would help low-income servers. It would be great. And when Trump did it, it would add $250 billion to the deficit. Same right. That you're running up against. This to me, so Trump yesterday at the Elon Musk interview said, all I need to know about Tim Walz is that he wants to put tampons in the boys' room. And like, that's the most ridiculous thing ever, and it says so much. It's such a metaphor for everything else that these people believe. To me, we spent a lot of time on this yesterday. I just want to play for you. This I think this is the biggest deal, but I worry that no one else thinks this is a big deal, so I don't know. But here he is on MSNBC.
There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
I don't know how much that resonates with people, that this guy doesn't believe in freedom of speech, but I think that's a big problem.
Yeah, no big deal. Just the vice presidential nominee on the Democrat ticket saying that he doesn't believe in freedom of speech, the bedrock principle that is first in the Constitution for a reason. No big deal. I mean, to your point, right? I mean, think about that. That's the other thing where I say all of these, it's always about the larger themes that are going on. It's always about the larger, we can always talk about one-off things, but it's always about not losing sight of those larger themes and those larger forces at play. And so where I say it's 2016 all over again is you just look at the liberal mainstream media giving both Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
Because you can really trust the mainstream media, bigot. I tell you, you can really trust those guys.
They're trying to really pass off as this Midwestern dad, sort of, he's likable, he can fix your lawnmower or whatever. No, actually, he doesn't believe in free speech. He thinks men should be able to play in women's sports. Oh, and by the way, I call him Tim A. Walz. Tim A. Walz started his political career by choosing to step down and let his entire unit deploy to the Middle East. And by the way, it was Iraq 2005. That was during the troop surge. That was some of the deadliest fighting our service members saw during that conflict. Tim Walz said, no, thanks, I think I'll sit that one out. You guys can go ahead and go serve your country. I'm actually going to go home and run for office. I'm going to put myself over my country. That's the truth of who this guy is, and that's the one that really bothers me, too. I'm a family member of a U.S. service member. I have deep, high regard for our men and women in uniform and also their values of integrity and honesty. And Tim Walz put himself over his country, and he was dishonest about it. And that's a big issue for me. But like you said, go ahead.
I say Breitbart calls him Tim A. Walz, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah, Tim A. Walz. That's what I mean. Exactly.
It's a great line.
I call him Sister Stupid and Butthead.
About that. And I can see the emails already. Slater, talk about the issues. Get back to the issues. It's like, well, that's a pretty big issue. Right?
Well, it is an issue because, again, there are the policy issues, and then there's the issues of character, right? There's the issues of somebody being a fraud and lying, and I mean those are serious issues. You take an oath of office, right? So character, they love to always the cop side and this character matters, but it's true. Being truthful about who you are matters. And I actually think that's something that voters have always loved about President Trump, is they know that what they see is what they get. And President Trump is the same President Trump, whatever room he is in. He doesn't hide the truth of who he is. Sometimes he'll say, oh yeah, am I a little politically incorrect? Sure, but I would take politically incorrect any day of the week over fraudulent and dishonest about who I am and my record of service, which is exactly what you have in Tim A. Walz and in Kamala Harris too.
What are you guys going to do?
It is an issue.
What are you guys going to do next week for the convention? I remember at the press conference, Trump said something like, it wasn't quite this, but it was like, we're going to let her have her week or something. Are you guys going to try to break through the presentation that they're going to put, or are you just going to sit back and let them have it and then come back hard after? What's the strategy?
Well, I won't get ahead of President Trump, but I would say stay tuned, as always, because we always have something to say. And, you know, look,
We gotta make America
sunlight
great
is the
again,
best
Megan.
disinfectant. And I think we are banking on the fact that the Democrat Party next week is going to paint a very rosy picture to the American public that is not grounded in reality at all. There's going to be something in the gut checks of Americans that know that, and we fully intend to make sure that whatever rosy-colored picture of reality they try to paint is, you know, correct.
There's a reason they call it liberal lies, Megan.
It'll be head-spinningly messed up. Like it'd be one thing if they said, you know, immigration is great for America and we need to help people from around the world. Like, okay, well, like we disagree or whatever, but we can have that conversation. But it's another to say, vote for Kamala. She's tough on the border. Trump wants to decrease the number of border agents. So like, well, hold on. So what do you do with that?
Yeah, exactly. These people are liars and frauds, and what you do with that is handle them how you handle any liar or fraud, which is that you just tell the truth, and you tell it soon, and you tell it fast, and you tell it swiftly, and that's always worked for President Trump. You know, this is where I say the American people are so much smarter than the Democrat Party and liberal mainstream media give them credit for. Do you think anybody actually believes that Kamala Harris would be tougher on the border than President Trump? Like, if you honestly believe that, I have some oceanfront real estate in Kansas I would like to sell you. You know, like, I don't think anybody honestly believes that for a second. And I think where the Democrat Party and liberal mainstream media often shoot themselves in the foot is by deliberately trying to lie in such a way, and they do this all the
If
time.
she was going to be tough on the border, why wasn't she tough on it to begin with, her and Mr. Biden, President Biden, that is?
That up is down. It's all very Orwellian, and the lies are so brazen and so not grounded in any form of reality. And where I think that backfires is just on a human gut level. Everybody still has a gut. Everybody still has a gut check, and that just doesn't check out. You know, if Kamala Harris is going to get up and say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to fix the economy that I broke," again, like, the American people are just smarter than that on a human being gut level, and they or you can look at all the polling and you look at those top issues. There's a reason everybody trusts President Trump. It's because he's earned that trust. Liars don't earn people's trust, and that's what you have in Kamala Harris and Tim Wallace and the entire liberal mainstream media propping them up. So what the liberal mainstream media doesn't get is the American people don't trust Kamala Harris. They also don't trust the liberal mainstream media. So anything the liberal mainstream media says, they pretty much trust the exact opposite. So if they have a liberal mainstream media telling them Kamala Harris is great, she's going to secure the borders, she's actually for fracking now, whatever it is, pretty much the American people just look at that and go, oh, I bet the exact opposite is true, right? Did you look at all the way that it's black? Yeah.
That's right. Caroline Sunshine, Deputy Director of Communications.
These people
for
are willing to
Donald Trump.
do
Caroline, great to talk to you.
anything
Thank
to
you.
keep power, Megan.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a great day.
We gotta we gotta make
Maybe don't
America
get upset
great
at their
again,
lies.
Megan. That's
Just
what
let
we
them
gotta
lie.
do.
And you treat liars like liars. That's what she said, right? Something like that. You treat liars like liars. And it reminds me of the quote we just shared yesterday from James Madison. It was 1836. It was right before he died. And this letter wasn't revealed until 1850. He just wrote it to himself. Advice to my country. And it's one paragraph. I mean, it's like a little bit of an intro. And then here it is. He said, here's my advice. Dearest to my heart and deepest in my convictions is that the United States be cherished and perpetuated. Here it is. Let the open enemy to this country, let the open enemy to it be regarded as a Pandora with her box opened, and the disguised enemy as the serpent creeping with his deadly wiles into paradise. End of letter. That is the author of the Constitution's advice to his country on his deathbed, essentially, is treat the enemies of this country as Pandora with her box and as Satan. Treat the liars like liars deserve to be treated. Mike Slater, Breitbart News Daily. Spread the word.
Hey, this is David Webb, and I want to thank you for supporting my show and the Patriot channel on the SiriusXM app. We're there for you because you're there for us.
David Webb, live, weekdays at 9 a.m. each on SiriusXM Patriot 125.
Hey, John, what's up, Lon?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years
years. I'm done with this. Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check it out. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I haven't paid my taxes in 8 years. I